but also getting yourself involved in in entrepreneurship, which is the backbone. SMEs are really the backbone of every society. So you guys, kudos to you. You're doing a great job. So like I introduced, so I build business strategies. I am a business architect, and I'm very interested in incubating and accelerating startups. That's been my career path for the past 7 to 8 years. So yes, I'm really passionate about what startups and SMEs can help facilitate in every economy and society. Yes, our topic today is business development and strategy. But the way that I have done this is we're going to start out with strategy, and then we'll go into business development when we talk about the business model canvas. So we're going to start with what strategy is not, what is strategy, strategy implementation roadmap, business model canvas, business hierarchy of needs, and then we'll conclude and we'll go into questions and answers. I would really love to hear from each and every one of you. So I want to give a lot of time for the question and answer sessions because you're already doing business, and I'm sure that you have questions that are born within you as to how you can make or implement some strategies that you've been thinking about. So who wants to help with their own understanding, your own understanding? What is a strategy? Feel free to use the raise hand microphone symbol, or you can type in the chat box. Okay, Ty was into event planning and management. Great. Does anybody want to help us with what a strategy is? Ty says that strategy are skills or medium one uses to handle tasks. Thank you. Adebisi Opeyemi. Yes, you can unmute yourself and speak. Hello, Adebisi.
Okay, Dios was not allowing me.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so just go ahead and let us know what.
Initiative to put in place to create one of the complaint, and that is to gain it from advantage to the market.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see your network is cracking. I don't know if it's just me, but if you can type in the chat box, maybe that would be helpful. Thank you. So I'm just going to take, so Xiaomi, I don't know who Xiaomi is, but I believe that that's your phone. So maybe you want to drop your name. Xiaomi says that strategy, to my understanding, is a plan of action designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim. Strategy is a plan or plans to achieve a goal. Strategy are method or medium one uses to implement a set goal. Okay. Strategy has to do with the steps initiated to achieving and taking advantage of the market to achieve an outcome. Strategy is having a plan drawn up for your business to get the desired targets. Okay. It's a blueprint, basically. All right. So let us see what a strategy is not. Okay. So a strategy is not a plan. All of my lovely people that said that a strategy is a set of plans or a plan. A strategy is not a plan. A list of tactics with timelines applied, that's a plan. But that's not what a strategy is. Strategy is not a spreadsheet or presentation slides, right? Because a lot of times we're made to believe, oh, I'm putting together a strategy document where, oh, if you've had any experience, maybe you've interned within a corporate organization, or you hear people who work in 9 to 5, there's always that whole, oh, I'm building a strategy plan, I'm putting together. It's really not the paper, the sheets, the tool that you use to put it together. And it's not a list of plans, right? It's not a list of tactics that has timelines that makes up your strategy. sometimes the great strategies comes to life from a napkin. So if you're familiar with conversations that happen around like places like Silicon Valley in the early days when everybody was getting into tech, they're talking about, oh, I was just in a coffee shop and an idea came to me, or I was having this conversation about my business and the only thing I had with me was a napkin, and so I just quickly jotted down. Sometimes like strategy comes in that type of form. So it's not necessarily about it being on a presentation slide or a spreadsheet. Most likely strategy comes from something that you've written down on a whiteboard on a flip chart when you're having an intensive or like a strategy session. I was trying to avoid using the word strategy session, but yes. Strategy is how you convince your audience that your plan is great and it's something that is going to work, right? So let's go into what's the definition of strategy. So what is strategy? Strategy generally involves setting goals and priorities, determining actions to achieve the goals, and mobilizing resources to execute these actions. And this definition was gotten from Wikipedia. This, in my opinion, sort of summarizes to a great extent what strategy really is. So you're setting the goals, and then you're prioritizing it. Which one should come first? What do we need to focus on first? And then also determining how you're going to execute on these goals that you're setting, because a strategy on paper without execution is just a plan. The execution, the implementation, that's where the work really is. And then also mobilizing resources. And so your resources here, human capital, money, even the product or service that you're offering or rendering, that's the resource to execute on this action. So strategy implementation, it is the process of turning plans into action to reach a desired outcome. Essentially, is the art of getting stuff done. So this is the real crux of the matter of all the strategy planning put together. The implementation is really important. Sorry, excuse me. So what's your strategy roadmap? If you go on Google, if you research, you'll find that like there's an extensive roadmap, but for the purpose of this class and where we are in our businesses as SMEs, I'd say it's just focus on the very, very important things for us. When you grow and scale and you become a big organization, a global brand, and then you start to expand, then you can go into the extensive parts. But for the purpose of this class, we're just going to focus on these 5 implementation roadmap. And one is value creation. So the goal is to create value for all stakeholders, right? The second one is your business model. Your business model must support the implementation of the strategy. We're going to go deep into the business model when we get to the BMC. So I won't spend a lot of time here. Then culture evolution. Culture drives the way an organization implements its strategies, right? So two companies can have the same strategy, but how they implement would definitely differ. It will be different because the person that has, even if you adopt somebody's strategy, execution is always going to be different because me that I've written it and you that you are taking it, we don't have the same brain, or we don't have the same, we're not going to execute it the same way. Your interpretation of what has been written. So maybe we take Mark Zuckerberg's business strategy plan, the first one he did when he started Facebook. Decided I want to replicate, want to build a social media platform. I take it, you also, and then say Adebisi also takes it. The way I would implement is different from the way Adebisi would implement, and both of us would implement differently from how Mark Zuckerberg implemented it when he first of all started Facebook, because we are not Mark Zuckerberg and we don't know how I got about it. Sorry. And then in every company, in every organization, the culture is different, right? So there's a saying there's this popular saying that goes, culture eats strategy for breakfast, but I would like to tell you that culture no longer eats strategy for breakfast. Rather, because of the speed that we are working at today, everybody wants to be able to implement fast and fast. Okay. And then there's also on the implementation roadmap, we're getting to the most critical and important part for you to be able to properly implement the strategies you put in place for your company, which is employee engagement. And so it is important to prepare the entire team with the right implementation attitude, knowledge, and skills. Because if your employees don't know what you are, if they don't have an understanding, if they don't have a grasp of the strategy that you've put in place, it's going to be hard for them to execute, because the core of the work of the company, of the organization, is the people that make it up. So you need to be able to carry everybody along in that strategy. Most of us here are SMEs and we're probably working alone, or we just have a co-founder. And so you and your co-founder or your business partner, as you're building, everybody, both of you have to be carried along. Maybe you have one additional person who is also volunteering or supporting. That person needs to be carried along to be able to buy into the vision of the strategy that you are setting. It is very, very important and critical. And then as you build the company and you expand the team, that the value, the vision of the company has to trickle down so that everybody understands that this is the direction in which we are going. This is the strategy that has been put in place. And then we need to keep it moving, because people will come and go, right? And you don't want a situation whereby, because Lagwaja has left the company, this part of the business is going to crumble. Everybody needs to be carried. Everybody needs to be aligned on what's happening, and then also track performance. This is an essential discipline, and then putting the right measures in place to manage the implementation and the discipline to constantly review its performance. So I'm sure that some of you, if not all, might have heard of tools like Trello or Asana, or even your spreadsheet. So you can do a Gantt chart that helps you to manage the life cycle of everything that you're doing. That's how you're able to sorry, the word is in my head, but it's not. That's how you're able to manage the performance. That's how you're able to monitor the growth, the development, how you are going in implementing your performance, because then it also helps you to make corrections as you go. Because like in building a business, at every point in time, like, so even if you have a wonderful business plan, when it comes to the execution, you'll find out that, oh, what you thought based on research you carried out, or your assumption, or the assumption by talking to your potential customers, that's not the reality on ground now. You're going to have to, move. So I'll give you a short story about some 2 years, was that, 2021, 2 years ago. Over time, people always reach out to me to help them with recruitment. And I thought that, okay, it'll be a great platform. I also had this lifelong dream of being a digital nomad. So I work remotely. I want to travel the world and still be able to do the work that I do and earn. And now people are always reaching out to me, oh, help me with this talent. Oh, I need to hire, help me with recruitment. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's a good opportunity to build a platform, because I always still connect people to job opportunities. So it'll be good. I came up with this business idea and had a conversation with people around talent management. Oh, I think I have a better one. So in this life, I've worked across different, I've worked with people to build their business strategies and build their businesses, their ventures. And I also have built some that are still working and some that I have had to shut down. Right. So I think the most interesting one around this conversation of things changing is a vehicle rental platform that me and my friend came up with. I don't know how many of us are familiar with Turo. Turo in the US. So it's a platform where you can rent a car to drive by yourself. Here we have Uber, Bolt, and all of that, where you go on an app, you request for a ride, somebody comes with his car to pick you up, his or her car to pick you up, and then you hop in, the person drops you up, drops you off, and then you make payments. But then with Turo, you can lend somebody's car. So for example, I list my car on Turo and I am living in Yaba, Lagos. Now Titi Loye is also living in Yaba and wants to rent a car that she can drive by herself. So maybe Titi is not even based in Lagos, but she has come to Lagos and she needs to Titi, so I just explained both, but I'm now explaining what Turo is. So Titi Loye doesn't live in Lagos. Maybe Titi Loye is in Ibadan and has now come to Lagos, but needs a car to be able to move around and doesn't want to maybe bring their own car down. They want to be able to use a car. They don't want to use both. They want to rent a car for the entire day. So you can go on the platform and find the people within the environment where you are and request for a car to be rented. They tell you where to pick up, you pay, you drive the car for an entire day. So yes, beautiful business idea. And I've seen it work across different climes. So me and my friend thought that, it would be a nice thing to do that. And that we're going to focus on exotic cars because there are people who, for example, want to go for an event, but you don't necessarily have to own a Lamborghini or a Range and all those type of cars, but you can own it for a day. So you can pay a fraction to own a car for a day. Beautiful idea. We spoke to different people and all these people thought that yes, it was also a good idea. Now we started to build the platform. We built the platform and we started to tell people that they can now list their cars on the platform. And that's where we started hearing stories like, what is the assurance that somebody will not run away with my car? But what if they go and sell my car? But they all liked the idea. It was a beautiful idea. And they said that yes, they were going to be willing to put their cars on the platform. So as we started to build the platform and wanted them to start listing their cars, they weren't going to do. We had to rethink our model, and we're like, okay, fine. People are scared to put their exotic cars on the platform. Maybe other people wouldn't mind putting their not so exotic cars on the platform. So their SUVs that are not exotic, or their Camrys and Corollas. So I just have a car sitting down around and the car can easily make money for me because now people were beginning to embrace remote work a bit. So people have like multiple cars in their houses that they're not using. And so we had to we needed to switch the model, right? So from time to time, it's important that you monitor the performance of the strategy that you've put in place to see if the strategy is working or not and what needs to be changed so that you're not just focused on doing one thing only. I digressed a bit, so I need to rush now. Sorry about that. So yes, we'll look at the business model canvas. How many of us have seen a business, have used the business model Canva before? How many of us? Are we all saying that this is our first time seeing a business model canvas? How interesting. Okay, I think someone has. Okay, Tyrell says that he uses it, but Choje Moses hasn't. Okay, that's fine. So this business model Canva was developed by Business Model Inc. It's not me who developed it. There are different versions, but this is basic. Key partners, key activities, key resources, value propositions, customer relationships, customer segments, channels, revenue streams, cost structure. These other elements below are not fundamental part of the business model Canva, but I like this model because then it also helps you if you're an impact driven business, you also want to consider that, and it's something that investors, people who will be putting money in your business sometimes are interested in. They want to know if if the business you're building has like a social impact. So yes, when we talk about key partners, Who are the people who said that they have seen this? So Taiwo uses it, Titiloe Joseph also uses it. So can you help us under the key partners? Who are the people you identify as your key partners? Joseph, Taiwo, who is going to help us? Okay. So that we don't take Tosan has Tosan, please go ahead and speak. Light, please, can you help? Because I think some people are trying to unmute. Let me see. Okay. So I think I've asked you to unmute now. All right. Tosan.
Good morning. So to answer the question, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, I think under key partners, take for example, when you have an agro e-commerce platform that connects farmers, vendors to consumers, the key partner in that, I think in that kind of business will be the farmers who are supplying the product. And yeah, basically people like that will be known as key partners.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that illustration. Okay, Titiloe Joseph, you said you wanted to speak. I think I've now requested you to speak, to unmute yourself rather.
All right. So, for example, if you're having a manufacturing company, so your partners will be your suppliers, in of raw materials. Your partners will also be wholesalers. Then your partners will also be probably some other people that are also contributing to what you're doing outside your company. So majorly suppliers and wholesalers.
All right. Thank you very much to both Tosan and Titiloe. So yes, your key partners so Taiwo's business is event planning and management. So some of your key partners would be your vendors, from food vendors to so there's someone who is into catering here. I saw that earlier. So your Okwemi is your partner, can be a key partner for you. We also have Ocheje Moses, who can be a key partner because he's a caterer. Decorators, the people who do decoration, these are your partners. You also have the chair rental people, table rental people who can also be your key partners. For those who are into catering, so your key partners can be the rice seller in the market, for example, because over time, if you've built a rapport relationship with that person, and so notice key partners is somebody who feels like for their business to grow, your business has to grow too. So for example, if on a steady, for those who are into food, so I'm giving this example, you have somebody so I'm assuming that you cater to big events, or maybe you start off catering to small events. You're buying rice, one bag of rice from this customer, and you're paying. And over time, the customer knows that you're steady, and maybe at some point you get a big gig and you really need rice, but maybe all the money has not come. But because of the rapport and relationship that you've built with this person, the person is confident enough to even give you, even if you don't have the complete money, believing that yes, you would always come back, because the person wants for you to go and deliver on that job so that you get your complete money and then come and pay them, because for their business to move, your business also has to move. For the person into dental, Olayonju Rashid into dental service, if you set up your own practice, your partner would be toothpaste companies, for example, or the people who make produce mouthwash, and then some of the other equipment, so hospital equipment, suppliers, as has been mentioned. So I hope we're clear on the key partners part. Is there anybody who is still unclear on who your key partner should be? So you can just leave it in the chat box and we'll get back to it. So yes, we also have, so what are the key activities? What are the key activities that your business is going to be conducting? You're a caterer. We're into catering foods to what type of events? So birthday parties, weddings, school graduation, and things like that. And then you can also have, but we also, okay, we can also have for the food business. So aside from catering, you also, part of the activities, aside from cooking it, you also go to the event place to serve. So you have that service where people are, where you are serving their guests the food. You also have the pastry side. So we also make small chops, or we bake cake, so we can bake the cake for your event also. What are the key activities that your business is going to be undergoing? You're in the dental service. So what are you going to focus on? Are you going to do you want to do cosmetic dentistry, or do you just want to do corrective, or do you want to do what's that part of dentistry? But yes, so you have to list your key activities. Event planner. So I'm just trying to run through. Okay, I've not touched fashion people. Sorry. I've used catering and dentistry and dental service. So let's go to fashion. So for key activities for fashion, it would be, we do ready to wear, or we're couture based, or you do both. What are your key activities? So we cater to working customers, and we also cater to customers who want us to sew to their exact fit. Key partners for those in the fashion industry can be suppliers, still those who you buy your materials from, those who you get your machines from, and then it can even be your customers. So you can get people you can create a service where people pay ahead, so they subscribe to your service. You can say pay for Q1, subscribe 100K every month, and you'll be sure of getting 3 dresses, so you in a quarter. So that's just like a very big example. But yes, you can look deeper into it and see if it works. So you can create a subscription model where you say 100K per, or 150K or 200K per quarter, and then that means you're going to get 1 dress every month, for example. So you're going to get 4 dresses in the quarter, and you are delivering to them. So in that, sorry, I'm coming to your question, Tuta. So in that instance, your customer can also be your key partner if they are paying ahead, because then they are also helping you to fund your business, quote unquote. So Tosa is asking, what about businesses that don't involve third parties, businesses that are basically just remote and online, e.g. marketing agency? Who can you call your key partners? Interesting question. We'll come to this when we get to the question and answer part, so that I don't lose track of what I'm doing. So yeah, key resources. Who are the key resources? What are the key resources that you need in your business? I like to put humans first. So the people that work with you in your business, your employees, your business partners, are key resources. So that's human capital. Does your business require for you to be physically based? So if you're a fashion designer or you're into tailoring, you need to have a workshop. So that's, one, you need to have the sewing machines. That's a resource that you need. If you're into catering, you need to have industrial burners, you need to have your pot, you need to have your coolers, you need to have your chafing dish. Who else? If you're into cooling of drinks and stuff like that, you need to have your chillers, and you also need the the elements that always remains is the human capital resource, because you always need human beings to work with you. What's your value proposition? What do you bring to the table? How is your business? What value does your business bring? What challenge am I solving? What solutions am I bringing? Right? That's what you should put in your value proposition. It's 11:46. Customer relationship. What type of relationship are you going to be building with your customers? Are you going to be interacting with them via newsletters, via social media, via a website? Are you going to be making phone calls? Are you going to be sending SMS messages to them on their birthdays so that they know that they are top of mind to you? I know that all of us, the people that do it the most, the banks, before your family members even wish you a happy birthday, bankers be different banks. If you are unfortunate to be using 5 different bank accounts, 5 of them would have sent you messages by midnight to wish you a happy birthday, right? So they're trying to make you feel important and that you're top of mind. So what type of customer relationship are you going to be building? How are you going to communicate and relate with your customers? Also channels through, okay, sorry, I think I've actually mixed that up. So what channels are you going to be speaking to reaching out to your customers, right? So you can say social media, you can say newsletters, you can say not I was going to say not digital ads, but the traditional ads, so newspapers, television, radio, depending on your business, or flyers, posters, billboards. How do you reach out to them? And then customer segments, you want to be able to classify your customers. Here, face-to-face or email. Thank you, Doris. So yes, customer segments. How do you categorize your customers? So for different businesses, you have different customer segments. For some businesses, you might decide that, oh, I just want to focus on only this type of customers, which is also fine. And then you're doing it at scale and you're making your money. There's some type of businesses where you now have customer segments. So for example, you're in the fashion industry, or you're into fashion. Who are the people that you want to service? You need to, so it's not to say that, oh, I want to focus on only women. Oh, I want to focus on female. So we're a female-centered fashion brand. Female fashion, the female population is a lot. I want to focus on females in Nigeria. That's still a lot. I want to focus on females in Lagos. That's still a lot. What category are you focusing on? Or in millennials? Are you focusing on Gen Zs? Are you focusing on late boomers? Are you focusing on, what other categories do we have? Are you focusing on students? Are you focusing on corporate people? Are you focusing on tech people? This helps you to identify the type of service that you would provide for them, because you also have to know that what a Gen Z would like is different from what a late boomer would like, right? What somebody if you're in fashion, what a corporate woman would like is different from what a Gen Z would like to wear. The corporate person wants to wear a nice corporate gown or suit pants, or nice dresses generally. I'm not saying that's what Gen Z's wear is not nice, but so corporate looking wears. And then what a Gen Z wants to wear is, oh, I want to wear a crop top and jeans to the office, and because of the type of culture that has been built there, they don't mind. That works. Oh, so you need to be able to identify the customers that you want to serve, and so that it helps you know what exactly how to serve them best. So we'll go to revenue streams. What are your revenue streams? What part of your service brings money to the table? So for example, if you're into, because I'm also trying to consider the businesses, like people who are in the class, so that I'm not just giving a random example. So fashion, I've dealt on fashion a bit, fashion, catering, dentistry, So yes, for your revenue stream as the person in dental service, okay, bead making and embroidery. So you're still you're under fashion, so but maybe I'll give specific examples to bead making and embroidery also. How do you make revenue? So for you that you're into bead making, Adesola Loveth, you're into bead making and embroidery. Part of your revenue stream can be making those beads and selling. That's one. How else can you make money? You can train people to learn how to make beads. People pay. So depending, like now you're doing your NYC, you're in Oyo State. Is there a school that you can go to tell them that you can teach bead making? Or are there people within the community where you are and you tell them, okay, pay 2,000 and you gather up to 10 people. If 10 people pay 2,000, that's 20K that you've made, and you have one class for it. And it might not even necessarily be physical. It can be on WhatsApp. You create a WhatsApp group, you do a video of you making beads, and you tell them that that's what they're supposed to do. You can now even write a list of all the things they need to go and buy from the market, but you've taught them how to make beads and you keep moving. You've made your money from there. Cool. So your revenue stream is not only limited to your ability to make the beads and sell, but can you also teach this? For those in the food business also, similar. You're making food, you're selling food, you're catering at events, you're getting paid for it. Can you also add trainings to it? You teach people how to do this and also get paid for training them on that. I hope that revenue streams is clear now. Then cost structure. What's the cost structure of your business? So what do you need to be able to set up this business? And so I'm taking cost structure from the point of view that we're just starting our businesses, or we've started out and we want to properly structure it. What do I need? What's the capital that I need to put into this business, and what is the returns going to be? So for example, I need to rent a shop. The shop costs 1 million per year. I need to buy sewing machines. I'm going to buy one straight sew machine and one industrial whipping machine, and they cost 150K each. That's 300K. I need to hire one tailor, then I'll now train other people. So I'm hiring 2 tailors. I need to pay them 100K per month or 50K per month. You put that. So salaries, this is how much it's going to cost for salaries. I need to, what again? So I'm focusing on tailoring now. And then I need to, what else would you probably need to do to set up the shop, with the curtains, fan, whatever? It would cost me, maybe have a table and chair for the receptionist. It will cost me 500K. So this is just an assumption you put it there. How much do I intend to make per clothes that I make? So for the ready-to-wear, we're not going to sell our ready-to-wears less than 20K per piece, per item. Or if I'm going to do couture, the customers are not going to pay anything less than 50K per dress made for them. And you have that, properly documented to say that if I get 100 customers over the next 6 months, this is how much I'm going to make, so that you know that the capital you want to invest in this business and the money that you assume that you're going to be able to make, right? That you're proposing that you're going to make, how are they aligned? Like, am I spending more in starting out the business than the profits that I would make, right? You want to be able to see the profitability of the company, of the organization that you're building. So these 4 elements are not very typical they're not typically put in your business model Canva. But then the environmental costs can be, but this is good for CSR. So CSR is corporate social responsibility. Sorry. And then some of it, you find out, how many of us know about the SDG, so Sustainable Development Goals, so you find out that different organizations, they pick 1 or 2 of the goals and say that that's their focus. That's sort of like what they now focus their CSR on in terms of making impact. So if your business you're also looking to to not necessarily focus on social impact, but it's also good because if you're looking for investment, sometimes those are the type of things that your investors are looking out for. They want to know the impact, the social impact your business has in the environment where you're building it, right? So when you talk about environmental cost, are there levies that you have to pay as a community? So for example, if in a community, they say that for you to set up your shop or whatever, there's a levy that you pay monthly or weekly. You want to put that down here. What's the how much is that going to cost me? When you talk about societal cost, okay, when you talk about societal cost, you also want to know how, like the type of, do I need to pay? There are certain projects that if you have to do, so now this is more, maybe it's not related to business per se, but like if you need to, if you are going to, and it can even be your business. So you feel that for you to excel as a caterer, the water in this environment where you're setting up is not good. So that means you need to create a borehole. And that borehole you cannot create because everybody around you, they are using bad water. You need to dig a borehole. But then you're making that borehole accessible to the community members also. This is where you can put that up also, right? The cost of creating that borehole. So societal benefits, based on the example that we have just used, you would be bringing clean water to the you'll be bringing clean water to the community. Also, do you intend to societal costs can also be hiring locals. So if you're into agri-tech, and then instead of bringing people, you're going to set up, you're opening up your farm somewhere remote from where you are, rather than bring people from the city to come and work, you take the locals within the community to work on the farm so that they can also earn. So that's a societal benefit. You've brought employment to them. What's the environmental benefit? There's going to be improvements in due to the levies that you're paying. You believe that it will bring about environmental improvement. So maybe the levy goes into fixing the road when it gets bad. The levy goes into fixing the light if the transformer packs up or the light trips off. Okay, are we clear on the business model, Canva? So something that I didn't clearly highlight is the marketing part, because that's also a very, very essential part of your business, right? You need to have a clear understanding of your market, and that's where it comes here, under your value proposition. You have to have a clear understanding of the market that you're serving and what how your solution is going to help bring about value for these challenges or problems that the markets that you've identified that market is facing. And then we'll now talk about the channels. So social media, for some people, it can be your website, it can be traditional adverts like posters, billboards that you can share within your communities, like churches, mosques, social clubs and different places like that. You also have your website. I think I've mentioned website. What other channels do you think you can market your business? Does anybody want to give it a shot? Okay, Femi says that Daniel Olufemi, sorry, says that he doesn't understand the channel. So that's what I was just explaining, but maybe I'll lay more emphasis on it again for another 2 minutes. Okay, you get it now. All right, thank you. Okay, so we're good. Now, moving on to business hierarchy of needs. Before I move on, let me be sure that everybody's clear. Okay, well understood. Thank you. So business hierarchy of needs. For our level and stage, this is very basic. and important to note, there's a more extensive business hierarchy of needs, but for our level, sorry, okay, so I've just been informed that we need to wrap up in 15 minutes. Well, we're already at the end, but I'll just rush through it so that we can ask our questions. I'd really love to hear your questions and answer as many as possible. So business hierarchy of needs, sales. Can we see? Sorry, I just realized that. So sales, right? If you look at this at the left-hand side of your screen, you see that 1, 2, 3 are categorized as get, 1, 2 on the top are categorized as give. So based on your business hierarchy of needs, this is where you start from sales, the creation of cash. That's the most important part. I'm an Igbo girl, so I like money. Yeah, may go bring money. Where is the money? How is the money going to be made? That's what your business is focused on, right? So the creation of cash. And then you now start to speak about profitability, the creation of stability. A lot of times, you know that like when you're starting out a business, you might not exactly be profitable, but you need to be sure that the business venture that you are going into can create cash flow. So I am spending this money, I am bringing in this amount. You might not necessarily like, break even in your first 18 months of doing business. Excuse me. You're literally just trading, right, at that point. But then from sales, you need to move up to profitability. And so that's the creation of stability. And then you move on to order. This is the creation of efficiency. So now things just go seamlessly. We look at the likes of Tony Elumelu now, and it feels like, oh, he's just chilling, he's living the life, he's traveling back and forth. When he started out as a banker, he did all the work. When he started out, building his own business, he did a lot of work. He had to be his salesman, he had to be the salesman himself, he had to work to hit profitability, and he had to create a process. And then that process has now brought in order within the organization, that it looks like, oh, this is a well-established company, oh, this is where I would like to work in, because someone had done all the hard work. And so there's order, and it's a creation of, which is the creation of efficiency, and then impact. So the creation of transformation. And then there's legacy. So when you first start out in business, you're just very, very interested. You're frugal, you're keeping money, you're maximizing the money that you have so that you can make sales, and then you start to make profit. After profits, your next headache is that, oh, how can I even create a sustainable business? How do we become more efficient? How can we meet our plenty customers' needs? Because from dealing with 10 clients, you're not going to be dealing with about 100 clients. You need to be able to build a system that allows for efficiency. And then your next headache could now be like, oh, now I have created all this, I want to make impact. And I'll use Tony Elumelu again as an example. He has the Tony Elumelu Foundation, because after he had become profitable, he had created a system that works. He now started thinking about, how can I transform other young people who are interested in business? And that's where impact comes in. And then you now start to talk about legacy. So you talk about the likes of TOE again, you talk about Dangote, you talk about Otedola. They are now, have now built a legacy as business moguls. So the creation of permanency. And so before I leave, here are my final thoughts for us as business owners. So include the right people, get the right people to work with you, and carry them along, so that you're sure. We're talking about sustainability. We want to be able to build businesses that are sustainable, execute relentlessly. Sorry, please hold on. No, yeah, sorry for the interruption. So execute relentlessly, build competence in your area in your choice of business. Network. Like network, attend functions, get to go out of your way to meet people, introduce yourself, talk about what you do, talk about what your business does. Also, who is in your corner, who is in your, so not only business-wise, but because you also need to build other social networks. Who are your friends? Who are your family? Are they able to support you when, because see, entrepreneurship is a very, very hard journey. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. So today we hear about, oh, everybody in tech, oh, Piggyverse, Paystack, they are making this. It's a very, it can be a very lonely journey. So you need all the support you can get outside of your business environment. You need the support of your family, you need the support of your friends. And then join communities. It can be in your church, it can be in your mosques, it can be within your environment. There are also business communities that you can, join. And then personal branding. How do people perceive you? If you're in the medical field, for example, what are the type of things you say on social media, for example, right? That's something that you need to consider. And then also your executive presence. How do you speak? How do you sound? What is it that you are saying? How do you carry yourself? What's your charisma like? Because that saying that you are dressed the way you are dressed is actually very true. You don't want to walk into an environment and they're wondering, who is this person that just came in? You want to present yourself well, right? So I think I've come to the end of my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Wani. That was very precise, even with the short duration of the session that we had, where you actually hit the nail on the head with all of the insights that's been shared. So thank you so much for coming on board once again. So right about now, please, if you have questions, do signify to speak, or you can actually share your questions on the chat box. And also, I'll be sharing the attendance link now. So ensure to fill in the attendance form before you log out of today's session. So once again, if you have questions, we still have our facilitator in here to share your questions before she leaves, because we're about rounding up the session. Are we saying no questions? If you want to speak, just signify though. So you all understood what was shared.
Okay. So I know that I said I was going to give, who is the person that engaged? I'm just trying to run through the comments and see who engaged the most. Oh, Tosan asked the question earlier. Thank you for that. Okay, so this Sola says, yeah, entrepreneurship is not funny, but thank you. I've seen a greater way to achieve my goals. And my question is, how do I move my business to the legacy level? Okay, interesting. Okay, so let's go back to Tosan first, and then we'll come down. Where's Tosan? Okay, so what about businesses that don't involve third parties, businesses that are basically just remote and online, e.g. a marketing agency? Who can you call your key partners? So for every business, whether be it remote, online, physical, you would always have partners. So a marketing agency, who are their partners? Their partners can be, and I think I mentioned it when I was talking about key partners, but maybe because I used the fashion, the tailoring business as an example, where your customer can even be your partner, for example, right? So you have, as a marketing agency, you're getting like retainers. People are your customers. You can put your customers on retainers where they pay you ahead to deliver on. So they've paid you out for like a quarter, and all you need to do is deliver on the work they've given to you. That money that they've given you, that they've paid you, can help you with your runway for the next 2 to 3 months. And then, like, imagine that you have different customers like that who are placed on retainers, and then they're paying you in advance for the job that you're going to do, right? Sometimes, like, if you're starting out as a marketing agency, and you're just one person, but you say you're a marketing agency, so you can't do everything, right? So, and I'm taking it that this is a digital marketing agency, for example. So digital marketing agencies will typically say that, oh, we'll do your copyright for you, we'll do social media, blog posts, newsletters. You can't do everything. You partner with other people. So you partner with a writer, a content writer, who can help you with newsletters and also blog posts. So that way you can consolidate it in a way where you say, oh, right, for every 4 articles that you write, you get 40K or you get 50K, depending on how you negotiate that. So, like, those are your partners. So I hope that's clear. Hello. Okay. Then next question coming down. I see that we have 2 people that have their hands up, but let's just take the ones that we have here. Okay, so Adesola says, for channel, you can run a broadcast on new products you have either on WhatsApp or LinkedIn. Yeah, thank you very much. So that's like good use of your social media. Your question, so Adesola's question on how to move her business to move her business to the legacy level. It comes with time. It doesn't happen overnight. And if you look at the examples that I give, so I mentioned Tony Lumelu, I mentioned Otedola, I mentioned Dangote. Now they have a legacy, right, that they've built. But if you look at the hierarchy of the business hierarchy of needs, right? So first of all, you need to think about even making sales. And then, so that's bringing in the money to your business. And then you need to, the next stage that you get to is profitability. How do I start to make profits? When do I start to break even? That'll be your next headache. And then you move on to order. So order being efficiency, building efficiency. You already have a process. You now have a process in place as to how things can happen, because you're not just serving only 10 customers anymore. You're now serving 100 customers. How are you going to efficiently meet all your customers' needs? The way that you were treating 10 customers is not the way that you'll be able to manage 100 customers. So you need to build a process in place, a process that can exist with or without you, right? And then that's how you get on to impact. And then after impact, you get on to legacy. I hope that's clear now, clearer now, Adesola. Self-explanatory. Okay, thank you. Odum's question: how can you maintain mutual relationship between your customers and workers effectively? Good question. Let's just see. Okay, so that's the last question we have on the chat, and then I'll come to Bukola and Moses. So how can you maintain mutual relationship between your customers and workers effectively? So because when you say mutual relationship, I'm trying to get the full context of it, but I'll just explain how you can manage relationships between your customers and your workers generally. I'm not sure about the mutual relationship that the mutual you've put in that context. So the type of relationship you want to maintain with your customers and your workers, your employees, the type of relationship they should also maintain with your customers should be professional, regardless of the relationship they have with them outside of that business. I need to make that clear, right? And so that's where you, as a business leader, you need to strategically show or lead by example what should be done. So for example, you have a restaurant and you have people who are working with you. A friend comes in, fine, the person is your friend, but the person has come in for a service, the person is going to pay for that service. You need to be able to treat that friend like every other customer, with respect and give them what is due to them. If the food is taking time, don't say that because now my friend, you understand, and my guy, leave it. They need to apologize and say, oh, sorry, the food is taking forever, but would bring it. Whatever you're giving every other customer, your friend who is also your customer needs to get that professional experience in that context, right? So I just use the restaurant as an example. And it can even be that the customer that has come in is your employee's friend or cousin or auntie or uncle. The person needs to understand that it's a professional relationship. While you can be cordial with the person, you also need to understand that, it's a work setting scenario. And this can apply for even online business or physical businesses, right? So even if your business operates remotely, the way you talk or you speak to the customer, the way you handle certain things is very important. It needs to be handled in a very professional manner. There are times where you would be you would need to create resolutions, right? Because customers would be upset about the way that an employee has treated them. How are you able to handle that situation in a very professional manner is also very important. While she wants to listen to your customer, you also want to listen to your employee, because this person is also investing a lot of time in helping to build your business. When you listen to both parties, you might be able to make a conclusion as to how, might not even necessarily be like, oh, who is wrong or who is right, but just help them come to an agreeable resolution. I hope that helps, Odum. Okay, so Ocheje Moses, please, you can ask your question. Can you unmute yourself now? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the section. It was very insightful. My question is, what can you do when you have customers complain that your products are quite expensive, and you knowing fully well that, or you actually put a lot of work in making sure that you bring out very good and quality products, so that, very good and quality products that are top notch, basically, and maybe when you now take it to the final consumers, they say it's quite expensive, and at the same time, you don't want to reduce the quality to, meet up with their own financial, their own financial level, basically. So what can be done, man?
So two advice. Sorry. So yeah, two advice would be, is either those are not your ideal customers, you're not speaking to the ideal people. That's one. So you need to rethink your market and find the people who can pay for your service, for your product. And then, or you do a proper analysis to find out what's the cost of production? Am I just being greedy as a business person and I want to make times 100 profits on what I am building? So yes, we know that like the economy is hard, is different, is difficult in this time, and it's not just only in Nigeria, it's global. So the cost of production has gone up, right? So the cost of production has gone up. And then there's also the place of understanding, am I just trying to be a greedy, business owner who wants to make all the money in the world? So I need to do times 100 because customers are not plenty. I can only sell to 10 people. So these 10 people I'm selling to, something that maybe the cost of production was 15K, you now want to sell it at 30K. Have the fear of God. But yes, so you want to probably look at the cost of production, where you're getting your raw materials from. If it's expensive, if there's a way that you can get I don't want to say cheaper, right? Because you don't want to reduce the quality of of your product. But if there are alternatives that you can use that can give you the same value, if you believe that, oh, this customer segment you are serving is the right customer segment, but they are complaining about the pricing, analyze it, find out, do like your market research to find out what you can do to, or how you can get better raw materials at better rates, and you can now rework your pricing. So those two things, is either you're not serving the right people, so you need to do extensive market research to find out the people who can purchase your product, or you need to do an internal audit of your product and everything you're putting in it to know if there is an alternative that you can use to also get you the same value, right? Okay, so let's take Bukola's question. Well, I've asked that you unmute. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can't make out anything you're saying. The line is breaking. Can you please type in chat?
Thanks for the lecture, ma. So yes, I a bit bad. So I got disconnected.
Okay. Can we take Adesola's question and Daniel afterwards? Hello, Adesola. Oh, okay, I need to actually unmute. Okay, your question, Adesola.
Okay, ma. Good afternoon, ma. Thank you
Hi,
so much for today. All right. I just want to do a contribution to what you've said concerning the question that he asked about what if your customers complain about the cost of your products. So I was having an issue with that, but then what I do is, as a bead maker, let me use my own business as an example. What I do is I bring the quality beads, and then I bring the plastic ones to my customers, and I tell them that, okay, if I'm to make original beadings for you, or if I'm to make a bag, for example, with this type of bead or this quality of bead, this is what it will cost you. And if I'm to make with this other beads, this is what it will cost you. And this is the disadvantages of using this particular brand or this particular type of bead for you. And this is also the advantage of using this one. Then you leave the customer with the choice to choose. I think that would be better off, because when your customer gets to know the value of what you're giving to them, it will help them better to buy from you, and it will even reduce the complaining. I don't know if that will help. So that's just my contribution on that.
All right, thanks for that contribution, Adesola. But also be careful. Whilst that is good in the immediate terms, because the person is able to now make a choice, and the person goes for the cheaper quality bid. In the event that bid goes wrong or something happens, maybe the gold part or something starts to rust, and somebody sees that, like, where did you buy this type of jewelry from? And then they say it's from Adesola. You're also killing your brand. So you want to, as much as you want to please your customers, you also don't want to reduce the quality. There are some people that don't mind, that's their brand, that's what you're going to do. That's fine, because they want people to always come back. But then if you're looking to build legacy, you also want to, because imagine that within a community, everybody is buying the cheap option, and everybody sees that, oh, after 3 months the thing cuts or the gold starts to fade away. That's what they're going to know your brand. So you also want to be careful about that, right? Okay, Daniel, your question. You're welcome.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the session. I learned a lot. So I have 2 questions. So the first one, when you were talking about the business model, you made mention of the environmental cost. So I want to ask, is it possible for a business not to have environmental costs? Like nothing in that session. So secondly, I also want to ask about the key partner. You made mention of the fact that the institution, customer might be the key partners and all of that. So I want to know, where does it fall into? And at what point um, is it required for a brand to bring up like an employee? Thank you.
Okay, actually, I think I've forgotten the first one now, but I'll start with the second one around when you say key partners, right? Hello, Daniel. Your second question was around key partners, right? If is Daniel still on? Yeah, he's still here. If your employees can be included as part of your key partners, yes, most definitely. Your employees because sometimes in tech, for example, there are people who, when they come on board, based on the value that they are bringing, the company knows that they are not able to pay them, right, the amount that they are worth in terms of salary. So they give them stock options. So that means they're like co-partners in that business. They have equity in the business, and that's something that can happen to starting out your business. You find one diligent person that's maybe you've known the person over time, and you're saying, okay, come, let's work together. That person can also be the human resource part of a business, can also be included as a key partner. Sorry, please can you remind me of your other question, because it has disappeared. Hello, Daniel. I need to actually unmute again. Hello, Daniel. What's the other part of your question, please? The first question you asked.
Okay, sorry, I was having issue on muting myself. Okay, I was asking that, is it possible for a business not to have environmental cost?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Heather. I remembered. So the business model Canva I shared, if you remember, I said that that last part, the part that says environmental costs, societal costs, environmental benefits and societal benefits, is not a part of the basic business model. Canva doesn't have that listed there. But I use that template to just show you that sometimes, depending on the type of business and type of investor you're speaking with, they want to know like social impacts that you're making. So that's like a good basis, but it's possible to not have any environmental cost in your business model. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, great. You're welcome.
So thank you so much, Ms. Wane. I guess all questions have been answered at this point.
Yeah.
Someone just sent in the question.
Okay.
Do you want to take that before we round up?
How can a business that recently changed location thrive? So what business, if you can maybe, so that I'm more specific to your challenge, what business do you operate, Okoyemi? So while Okoyemi is typing that, for Bukola, you said you missed out. Sorry that your network was dropping you off, but maybe what you missed was when we were talking about defining what strategy is and what strategy is not, and strategy implementation, and talking about the strategy implementation roadmap. So maybe if you reach out to your colleagues on the WhatsApp group, they'll be kind enough to share with you some of the things that we discussed. Okay, so Pemi says that she sells cake, food, and pastries, and you've just moved into a new location. All right, so there's a general belief that food sells well, or food sells fast. So depending on how are you marketing yourself, where are you positioned, maybe you want to do, who are the people that typically, what type of cakes do you make, What food do you make? Are there offices around that environments that you can, like, make a flyer and distribute to? Tell them, offer them extra services like, oh, I can deliver lunch for your staff. All you need to do is send a WhatsApp message at so time. We'll deliver the lunch for you. Or we also sell pastries. Do you want us to come and drop some for your customers? Or do you have an event that you are hosting? So who are the people within that environment that you can reach out to? Where are you dropping your flyers? There are churches, there are mosques that you can also leverage to put your flyers down so that you are top of mind. So yeah. And then also your former customers, you're not going to totally throw them away. Have you informed them that, oh, I have changed location? And for those who say that it's too far away, can you also offer them delivery? So I think that those are some methods that you can explore. Hope that answers your question, okay. Where are you? Can you raise up your hand, please? Okay, I think I've seen you. All right. So you can unmute yourself now. Okay, can you unmute yourself? So I've tried.
She wants to ask a question.
She wants to. So I'm giving her the accent to unmute, but I don't know if she can say that.
Hi, Poemi, can you hear us? I think she may not be able to unmute. I haven't tried unmuting her. I think this would wrap up our session for today. So thank you so much, Wani. It's just so amazing having you around. Again, please, if you have more questions for Ms. Wani, you can share it on the group. I'll share it with her privately. And whatever answer she's giving, I'm also going to share that response on the group as well. So thank you so much, Wani, for making yourself available for us, despite your schedule as well. Again, if you want to take a picture with our facilitator, please do well to do that. Take a screenshot. You can turn on your videos, take a screenshot, and then post on your social media pages. I'm going to tag her social media handles so you can tag her to it, appreciating her for sharing the insights onto this session. Thank you all so much. For those that missed today's session due to the network issues, please note that we will be sending in the replay. That will be on Friday because we will not be able to do that today. So on Friday, we'll share the link where you can go back to watch all of today's training session and also, look through all of the insights that have been shared. So thank you all once again for coming on board. And please do ensure to fill in the attendance form before you log out of today's session. That's one very important prerequisite towards pitching for the grant funding, which was shared on why you were registering in the first place. So kindly fill in the attendance form before you log out of today's session. It was great having you all today. And of course, we hope to see you all and also those that were not able to join in early enough. We hope to see you tomorrow for the next session. And next session tomorrow will be on product development cycle and sales. Again, that's one major business scaling topic that we always advise entrepreneurs to, participate in to get the nugget and the knowledge that will be shared in that session. So ensure you don't miss it. Same time, 11 a.m. I'm going to still be sharing details regarding the session on the group and also via your emails. So thank you all so much for coming on board today. Please, if you're yet to fill in the attendance form, do well to fill in before logging out.